to another episode of Know Your Alumni Season 2. Today, we have with us Miss Moksha. She completed her B.Tech from NIFTEM in 2017 and further went on for MBA in Food Agribusiness Management at IIM Ahmedabad. She completed this program as a gold medalist in 2019. She also did an internship at Pioneering Ventures and is currently working there. Welcome, ma'am. How are you?
Yashashree. I'm good. How are you doing?
Thank you, ma'am. I'm good. I'm glad you could join us today. So, to begin with, ma'am, could you please share your experience at NIFTEM and how has it helped you grow?
So I joined NIFTEM back in 2013, and throughout my 4 years at NIFTEM, there was something or the other happening which is totally new. Loved being a part of the things that the events that were occurring. So, at that time, we were the second batch that had joined, and it was still quite new. A lot of systems had not kicked in yet. Um, a lot of things along with us, even the professors were figuring out a lot of the systems and other things. So it was very interesting that once we were organizing ourselves into clubs, into festivals, all of that, we were somewhere at the front of it. And I think my batch mates and we had a lot of fun doing that. And so broadly, I think my NIFTEM experience, if I were to look at it like now, and probably look at it from a perspective that what would I have known that would help me get through it better. I think the first thing I would say is that friendships do really matter. Relationships matter. Whatever your inner circle in campus is, it can be one or two people, but it has to be there so that you have a support system. But beyond that, I think we should not really care about the opinion of others, and it shouldn't just matter. We should choose wisely, choose one or two friends very, very carefully, and don't be in a rush because in the first semester, everyone just seems like your best friend. So take as much as time as you want to figuring that out. But once you figure that out, take care of them, take care of yourself, and also do not really hesitate because someone else's opinion is holding you back. So that is something I would definitely uh, would want to know before I started. And personally, I feel that academically, NIFTEM was great. I got a lot of opportunities to learn, whether it was management related courses, food technology, all of that. I really enjoyed that. The part where I would want others to also do is something that along the lines of consistent hard work. For example, if someone is getting a 7.5 at moderate effort in a semester, I would probably urge them to aim at 8 and then just keep living up to it instead of 6.5, 7, just all the way up and down. Stay consistent, have that figured out, and then also find time for yourself to go out and do other things. Probably join a club, a sport, or something that really interests you, instead of just hanging out with friends or just doing games on your phone. So I really think that experiences matter at that age, and you should collect as many of them as possible and as diverse as possible. And this includes any travel experiences you can have. So there's an example with my friends and I. So I was really scared at the time of heights, and I didn't really like amusement park rides and all. So my friends forced me into it, and now I just miss it more than anything because of the whole lockdown situation. But one, it helped me out of a fear that I had. Also, it is an experience that I really, really enjoy till now, and I have that memory. Similarly, I a lot of friends and I we started doing theater at NIFTEM, and that largely came out of this. We had a professor who was a very staunch advocate for theater, and we just wanted to start something new and have fun. And not only that, we got rid of our fear of public speaking. We were on the stage doing just absurd things, and it was okay. It was entertaining. And it was something that I think a lot of people still remember. But it was a lot of fun. So the point that I'm trying to make is beyond academics, there is a big world that you can explore during this time, and do not let this time go without doing that. So step out of your comfort zone a little bit and really collect experiences as you go, so that at the end of it you come out as a more richer personality rather than just someone who just studied some books and did some lab work.
Well, that sounds like a nice experience, ma'am. And the theatre initiative you took is going really well. So after NIFTEM, you went for MBA in Food Agribusiness Management at IIM Ahmedabad. So how did you decide to go for MBA in Food Agribusiness Management?
So what happened at NIFTEM was, this is purely coincidental, I believe. So in the third semester, they taught us dairy technology. I think that's still a course which is around. Okay. So I happened to read a book by Verghese Kurian at the time, and he talks about it's his biography in a way. And he talks about his journey from his and India's journey from a milk deficit nation to someone who's now exporting milk and is the largest producer of milk worldwide. So it really inspired me, the culmination of technology, societal change, and all of that just coming together and creating so much surplus for the entire nation. It really helped me have a bigger perspective to life, I think. And during that time, I was really listening to a lot of podcasts on YouTube. So I came across a lot of talks by Vinod Costa. He's a venture capitalist in America, India born, but settled there. And all of that just really made me go big on the entrepreneurship space in India. And I just wanted to learn more. So, so decided to go for an MBA. That's not really an answer that everyone has, but it's something that's very personal to me, and I know that's how I decided to move from being an engineer to also getting a business degree.
Okay, so could you tell us something about your preparation for CAT and the selection process for IIM Ahmedabad?
So I'm in no way an expert here, but I'll tell you how it went down for me, and maybe it is applied to other people as well. So for CAT, I think there are two or more two for CAT. There are two skills that you really need to know. I just broadly categorize them as English and then logic. Logic can have maths as well. So for English, I had been reading a lot throughout school, throughout college. I was just the one who liked to read a lot. And so reading was not really a challenge for me. I really picked it up, the reading comprehension skill, really fast. Didn't really have to study a lot. And like many of us, I'm from non-med background. So maths and all that, the curriculum that consisted of maths was something that I had done before and did not require a lot of learning, but just a little bit of brush up. And in my case, what I chose was that I will not do any classroom program. And this was, I think, a hack that I discovered, that going to a classroom, sitting, studying, and then coming back and getting someone else's technique into your head, it made no sense to me. I already knew when I looked at the syllabus, it was something broadly that I already knew, and I just needed to practice it, get some practice in, and it would have been fine. So I just gave mock tests, and I gave about 40 to 50 mock tests, and all of them very close to CAT. Like, did not really prep beforehand. I think I started 6 months before and just went into overdrive 2 months before that. Not a lot of classroom study, and that is something that I did not come up on my own about. I read it on Quora that a lot of people had recommended good mock tests and not a lot of classroom programs or tuitions. And I absolutely found the idea quite ridiculous to travel to Delhi for a weekend and get classes and come back. I felt it was too tiring. Yeah.
Well, thank you for these insights, ma'am. I'm sure it will help a lot of students for their preparation. Now, how was your experience at IIM Ahmedabad?
Yeah. So I went into IIMA at 22, directly after college. And luckily, that happened. And uh, so it was quite an experience. So what IIMA does is they put you in a room with a lot of bright people, and they're bright in a lot of different things. It's not just academics. It can be sports, it can be music, it can be dance, and you are just intimidated to your core. And they do that in the very first term, and then you add to that studies and placements, and it just drives you up. The pressure is nothing to what I had ever experienced in my life, and I would say IMA probably does that so that it can break you a little bit and then build you back up. And I think that really happened with me. It changed how I looked at things. It definitely changed how I reacted to things in a way that pressure is no longer a bad thing for me. Now I think there's a certain level of stress I can't live without. And in a positive way, like I want to put in some productive work in it then. So in IIMA, we also discovered that you can be really, really happy and satisfied with life and do a lot of work. So that those two notions were quite different in my head. They didn't really come close by that you do a lot of work and then you enjoy. But in IIMA, in very short periods of time, we had a lot of sprints in which we did a lot of work, but we were able to get a lot of outings, a lot of group studies, a lot of those things, and it just in a very small time you just get everything. So it's like a very fast paced college life, and it tells you, and by the end of the first year you just start knowing more about yourself because of the pressure and the things that you go through. And at the end you just come out as a person who's much more um, aware of themselves in some ways, and also is not really scared so fast. They don't really get phased by a lot, by a lot of things, because you already went through a lot of things that you did think were possible in the beginning.
Thank you for sharing your experience, ma'am. So now moving on to your job, how did you come into working at Pioneering Ventures and why did you choose this particular job line?
During our summer placements, which is our internships that happen between the first year and the second year, we had a lot of companies in campus, and Pioneering Ventures was one of it. They're a venture capital firm, and they invest in startups across sectors, but mostly focus on agri-tech and fintech space. So when I was deciding between a lot of different roles and a lot of different companies, I still had that instinct in me that I needed to be at that place where technological innovation could bring about a lot of societal change. And that's why I was in business school. So it was just perfect for me to get a role like that right out of college. And secondly, I had a chat with one of my professors about it. There's a lot of pressure at campus to get to grab the highest package or grab the like the company that everyone is vying for, and all of those things. So I just went to my college professor, talked this out, and it was very clear at the end that this is the role that I wanted. And after a couple of years working in this role versus working in any other role, this is where I would feel like I've grown a lot. And the skills that I need, the skills that I will build here will actually be the skills that I need in the future. So chose it, didn't really think much about it. Did my 2 month internship. At the time of my placements, I got an offer from them to come back, which very grateful for that, still very grateful for that, and grabbed it up immediately, knew this felt right. I knew I had to be in this space. So not a lot of deliberations from my side. It's just, this is the one.
So could you tell us something about your job profile and the scope of work you do?
So right now, I've approximately spent about 2 years working, And the work we do is kind of identify new opportunities in the market, what kind of startups are coming up, what are the technologies that are being deployed in the sector, where are the areas where we can have the greatest value creation, how can we capture that value creation for ourselves. It's not a non-profit, so we have to think about that too. And it's just a lot of interesting work and meeting a lot of interesting people. Like every day you're meeting some or the other expert or some or the other entrepreneur, and about their ideas, about how they want to do things. Also, there's this another line that we do. uh, a lot of people in my team also focus on building startups, so we work very closely with them to how to scale them, how to growth hack, how to do all of that. So completely in love with that, and I really really love that part of my job, wherein we meet people as well as help them build sustainable ventures.
So now, as you're preparing for CFA level 2, could you give us some insights on why should someone go for CFA specialization and its benefits, its various levels, and how can one cope up with their job?
Sure. So CFA, if people are not aware on the call, I just there are three levels. All of them are they have a lot of different modules that they cover, and it's right from corporate finance to alternative investments. There are a lot of things that are new to us. There's economics as well. So the I feel the modules are pretty nicely structured. Uh, And for my job, I feel it really helps because there's a lot of financial analysis that goes into understanding ventures, to understanding um, where is the opportunity for growth, how do we leverage that, and all of that. So I think it's helpful for what I do. And secondly, how do I balance my job with it? So there are always a lot of resources to help you study. So the first thing is I would like to thank my MBA professors, because CFA level one is broadly based on what you learn in your MBA. So I think broadly that was covered. For CFA level two, I'm relying on a lot of resources that were available on YouTube, and and a lot of books that come from Kaplan series. I don't think it's tough to balance both, because you do get time. CFA is not something that you need to take a lot of time out for. It's just that you have to be methodological about it. Start early and have like a fixed, let's say 10 or 12 hours per week that you want to keep, that you can't budge from, and I think it'll be fine. It's not one of the most difficult things. Like it's really
Well,
pretty easy.
okay, so thank you, ma'am. Now, lastly, could you give a message for NIFTEMites?
So for me, I think what has stayed true for me right now also is experimentation. For 4 years, you get this space where there is no pressure about earning money, about doing anything except just living for yourself. Do your academics, get that sorted, get your 8th grade, 7.5, whatever is a stretch goal for yourself, keep it and maintain it semester on semester. Apart from that, have a lot of fun. Collect as many experiences as you possibly can. Don't be the person who's sitting in the hostel room when there's a fest going on outside. Don't do that. Participate in any way that you can, and I would just say that um, have one or two relationships, friendships that really make sense to you, that you probably want to introduce to your kids as uncles and aunts. Have that going, because you will never really find space later in life to connect with others like that. And it was just a huge opportunity. I think be optimistic. Anything can happen. It's you're just starting out, and I think it truly has the potential to be wonderful, to be the most wonderful 4 years of your life. Yeah. and make the most of it. Don't hold back anything. Just whatever you feel, go try it, and do not care about opinions. I feel too many people spend too much time thinking about what others will think. It never matters. I tell you that from experience that I was not one of the most like I didn't have a lot of like I didn't look for approval from a lot of different sources. It does not come naturally to me, and that allowed me a lot of freedom to try new things. There was one semester that I was doing theater, went really well, didn't go well, the play, and everyone knows about it and everyone's watched it. And the second semester, maybe I'm trying out DJing at a party and it goes horribly or it does not. People will always have opinions. It never held me back from trying the next thing. And I've tried coding, I've tried dancing, I've tried everything. Like those 4 years for me are the building blocks of what I am today and how I understand myself to be. So if I do think that I have this particular strength or I don't, it it is largely shaped around those 4 years of finding myself. And I think NIFTEM being for us, NIFTEM was a very new college, so we could really find that space to experiment. But now that you guys have a lot more facilities and a lot more uh, clubs and other things already going, I think the potential to even excel and pick something up and do it for 4 years straight also is also there. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. It's your 4 years, however you want to make of it, but don't let anyone else tell you what to do. Just go for it.
Well, thank you for sharing your journey, ma'am. It was really encouraging. And thank you for joining us today.